All right, 5 minutes left, and so that means it's time for Bury the Lead, where we give our hottest takes in the last 5 minutes of the first Zoom. So, this week I think I'm starting off,
Yes,
and
you're starting off.
I'm gonna be talking about this thing I saw on LinkedIn of all places, where there's this thing where the M dash, which is the punctuation mark that people use, um, they're saying that now this is an indicator that something was written by AI. Like if you're reading a document and you see M dashes, it's like, oh, that must be AI because AI loves to just throw in an M dash casually here and there. Okay, first of all, anyone who's in journalism knows very, very well the differences between a hyphen, an N dash, and an M dash, and they know exactly when to use them. And this is part of like AP style, it gets drilled into your head. So Abby and I both are huge fans of the M dash, and we absolutely use it all the time, like in text messages. For a while, I was going out with a journalist, and they would use M dashes like in AP style in all of their texts, and I feel like that's just how essential the M dash is if you're in certain professions. Even in my profession now, I'm a writer, I'm not a journalist, but I use like 20 to 50 M dashes a day. So I love it. All that is to say, for people to now interpret that like AI has distorted the landscape where now like we don't really believe that like things could have been written by real people, and they're looking for like every single excuse to kind of diminish the craft of writing and to not give people like the credit that they deserve for the hard work that really goes into writing. It's disheartening to me that like something that I write might be interpreted, or like I might hand something over to for review or for publication, and they might look at it and immediately write it off or dismiss it because there's the potential that it could have been written by AI, even though it wasn't, because I never use AI. And this just sort of the way that AI has distorted the landscape of journalism and media is really troubling. I don't know where things are going to go from here, but I just remember this was a conversation when we were in the newsroom of our old paper, and at the beginning of the year, they asked, "Are we going to allow for AI in anything that we do?" And I kind of put my foot down and said no, because that defeats the point of what we're doing here, which is we're trying to teach people the craft of journalism and teach people how to write well. We were student journalists, so like using AI would completely defeat the point. And I think that AI is defeating the point of a lot of things that happen within media right now.
Totally agree. And just to get into my stuff, I'm also going to be talking about AI a little bit. I'm talking about journalists and interviewers specifically. I have probably mentioned before, but I don't like the idea of like influencers being interviewers or the idea of everyone being interviewers. I think that interviewing is such a specific type of art, and I think the reason why this Bury the Lead has been brought up for me was because I was with a common friend over the weekend and she was asking me who I thought were really good interviewers. And I was calling out people like Sean Evans of Hot Ones, if you guys know him. I think he asks the deepest questions. And it's like it throws these celebrities off. They're like, oh my gosh, wait, how did you remember that? And it's so well researched. In long form interviewing in particular, you can tell when the interviewee or interviewer is not researched as well. Like, I don't like the idea of having like cue cards and like these really scripted questions. Another reason why I brought this up is because I was listening to Alex Cooper's interview of Meredith Grey. I'm forgetting her name right now. Ellen Pompeo. And she had asked her a question about like where she grew up, whatever, and then Ellen had said something about how she was raised around the mob. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Like I want to hear more. But instead of asking her about that, she just moved on to her next cue card. And I just don't think that people should be interviewers if they're not trained on that. Like you need to be able to have a flowing conversation. Interviews change. Like not every single question is going to be asked, and not every single question is going to be on your cue card. Like you need to be well researched and you need to know your subject. And plugging this in with AI, I also don't agree with even like you could use AI for questions and like ideas, but I don't think that that should be something that you rely on to even create all your questions. That also is such a robotic form of asking. And like you need to be able to build rapport in a way that isn't unnatural in using AI or anything like that. Like I think that there's an art to interviewing and people are taking it for granted by letting anyone be interviewers.